away for too long. Bring the healer, bring the light, not the gold, 'cause I can be sold. Show me a healer. Try to deny my precious broken wings, but still I'm set to fly. They keep wondering why. Becoming another harmless profit machine. Now I'm in between, and it's so obscene. Rain the sun, staring in the sea. Only to be free, that I guarantee. Still in your breath, just one last time to see. Am I still alive? Well, I'm riding cold, feel this way for too long. Bring the healer, bring the light, not the gold, 'cause I can be sold. Show me a healer, bring the
Good evening.
What's up, bro?
How are you tonight?
I'm doing good, buddy. How about yourself?
Doing well. Doing well.
Doing well, huh?
How was your day today?
It was a pretty good day. Tomorrow's my son's birthday. So Noah's birthday, he'll be 6 tomorrow. So we went out and got the birthday cake and got some birthday, decorations for the house. Gonna be the big 6 tomorrow, so I'm excited. He's excited. And then outside of that,
throw a surprise on you and just start interviewing you. And my next question was going to be which son's birthday, but you already beat me to it. I'm already failing at this trick interview on you. You're blowing it.
Well, yep. Tomorrow's my
6
son's
years
birthday.
old.
6 years old tomorrow. So happy early birthday to him. And we want to actually, before we get started as well, I want to give a few other shout outs to birthday people today. We got Lisa Christine. Is that her last name, Christine?
Christensen.
That's it. Yeah. Happy birthday to you if you're watching now or you watch later. Happy birthday to you. Astrid Gray Owl. Happy birthday to you as well. she came onto the radio show and said it's a birthday today. So happy birthday, Astrid.
Happy birthday.
There we go. How was your day?
Good, great. Good, great, grand. No yelling on the bus.
Super. Look at there's good evening, Mary Beth. How are you doing? As a matter of fact, we got a special co-host again tonight. Since last week was such a hot mess, we brought our special co-host again tonight. Everybody, please welcome Lindsey to the show.
Hello.
Hello, Lindsey.
How are y'all tonight?
I'm fantastic, actually. Thank you for asking. How about yourself?
Doing good. Been working on crafts.
Been working on crafts. That's a trend lately. Like Päpä, I've noticed you. I noticed Zeb. Zeb has been working on crafts. Jesse's been working on crafts.
I think it's something in general about the pagan community that you feel so much in your practice that it comes from your head and your heart to your hands, and you have to do something with them.
I'm guilty as well.
Craft.
I've been out on a trail hunting for sticks and stuff like that because I wanted to make some wands. So I've been really picky about the sticks. And if I that sounds stupid, I know, but I'm sitting when I get out and I go hunting for like sticks and staffs. There's a certain way I want it to look, and I found a couple of nice looking staffs that I've been working on getting the bark peeled off of and sanding them down so I can start doing some wood burning on them, and then I'm going to do some. But yeah, I'm guilty of doing crafts too.
I've seen some of your crafts and your wood burning and things, and they're very, very excellent. And since you've mentioned this about the wands and things in a very particular shape, there are some pieces that I would like to gift to you that I've harvested here.
Me?
From around my home, we have a ton of mountain laurel that grows, and it grows in such a unique shape. It's twisty and turny and curvy and bendy, and each piece is so unique.
That's funny you said, because that's exactly what I kind of look for. It's like I like seeing knots in my wands and the little
each have their own
defects,
character and their own spirit.
Yeah, see, I'm that way too.
We've got mixed wood forest. We've got a lot of softwoods like the big pines, and then we've got mountain laurels and oaks and other things. And the laurels are almost like a shrub of a tree, so everything else towers over them, and we get those big pines that come down and they break a lot of the laurels. So I go out and I get those, I pick them up, and then I bring them home and do craft with them. And I've got some pieces then that I would like to send your way.
That'd be cool, because I've been, like I said, I've been hunting for sticks, and I found a couple of nice looking staffs and some couple of nice looking sticks, and I'm going to turn into wands, and I got some really nice limbs that will make really, really good fucking staffs. So
whenever we hit a break, I've actually got a couple pieces in the room back over there. I'll run grab them, and whenever we come back from that first break, I'll give you a quick look to see what I'm talking about in their shape.
Ooh, that'd be cool. Let's get to saying hello, everybody here in the chat room. We got Mary Beth. Good evening to you. How are you doing? Thanks for joining us. Buddy Holloman, how are you doing? He says, howdy, sexy folks. Happy birthday, Noah. What are we showing up bones?
Yeah, they're sanglier bones.
Hang on. Let me get mine
Wild
out.
boar.
Let me get mine out.
Now we are going to get kicked off.
You going to get us booted again?
Me?
Buddy says he likes to work with bamboo.
Hey, buddy.
So versatile. You can do so much with bamboo.
Yeah.
You can. You really can. Mary Beth says, are you selling any of them, Sid? I don't know yet. I'm just doing it because of hobby. I'm not really, you guys know me by now. I'm not really much of a profit guy. I give the stuff away before I sell.
I was making things just because I enjoy making them. It's peace for me when I sit down and I craft. And then I started making things for friends and giving them away. And then so many people started getting upset with me about not offering them to the public.
Well,
and so that's
show up to a show. You might get something free from me. That's what I'm about. I'll give the stuff away before I sell it. I'm not much into that trying to make a profit anybody. I just enjoy. If somebody likes my stuff and they actually want it, that tickles me to death. I'm like, yeah, here, you can have it. Sure, no problem. You can take it. It's all yours. I'll package it, send it your way.
But sometimes that craft takes a lot of time. And then when you take that time out, that time isn't spent earning to pay your bills.
And I think that's where you start really love it as a hobby, and it becomes more of a passion when you ain't got to worry about it bringing in money. Sometimes I know that it could when you have to make stuff and you have to bring money in from what you make, it can tend to be stressful, and I don't want to be like that. You know what I mean? I'm just me. I don't want to have nobody hanging over my shoulder. Are you done yet? Are you done making this yet? No, I'm not done yet. I'm uninspired now. Thanks.
That job, when it becomes work instead of a joy and a passion.
Yeah, it's a fine line to tread it, though, isn't it? But especially doing what you do, you still, because you can easily get burnt out doing what you do. So you get that there's a passion, and especially the atmosphere that you're around, your surroundings. It helps keep you inspired. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
You're
and the daily outings, grounding.
His walks in his orange short, his gold shorts. His long walks in the woods with the golden shorts.
So much of my path and practice go into my craft, and so it's constantly being renewed, and each day is new. So each day crafting is new.
You can definitely feel the energy that you put into your work.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you very much. I can't take credit for all of that. It's the energy that I absorb here and then pass on through that work to the folks that.
Well, it obviously takes a lot of love and practice that you've put into it.
Well, without further ado, guys, we got a good show lined up for tonight. We actually got ourselves another guest, another victim to the show. but I'll let one of you two introduce our guest on tonight. How about that?
All right.
Which one's it going to be?
Go ahead, Päpä.
All right. If you guys would, welcome Monica Moonastira Smith to the show.
Hi.
Welcome,
Hello.
Monica, to the show.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
How was your day?
How are you this evening?
My day's been great, and this evening is wonderful. I've just been hanging out, trying to figure out DoorDash for a new area, which is always a learning curve everywhere you go.
I was going to say, you are in a new area, and it's that weird weather time of year. You're kind of close to Tornado Alley now, aren't you?
I am in Tornado Alley. I'm in Kansas, but I spent 5 years here previously, so I'm used to it. We do have a storm shelter right here on the property, so that's good.
Yeah,
I think that's
always
almost
good,
kind of like a standard with homes in Kansas, is that you've got that storm cellar.
When I was here before, I had a rental house that didn't have a storm cellar, and then the house I bought also didn't have one. So our safe place there was under the house next to the driveway, concrete. So it's nice here that we actually have a room.
That scares me because I don't have a safe place around here. I live in a trailer, a modular home, and there's like no basement, there's no ditch. It's all just flat.
You better jump in that bathtub.
Not to be cliche, but it makes me think of the movie Twister, where he like gets his belt and straps it to the water pipe or something.
Yeah.
You have to find where that water main is and have a
Maybe
belt.
I need to build a ditch. Maybe I need to dig a ditch.
Well, then you have to worry about it getting filled up with water. When I moved here before, I was in Kansas for 5 years previously. And all my friends from Washington State were so worried about, what are you going to do about tornadoes? I'm like, oh, don't worry. I have a trailer park right down the road. They always hit them first. I know it's bad to say, but
that'll be the warning when you start seeing the trailers go by. That's the warning.
Now, has any of you guys ever experienced being part of a tornado?
I have twice.
Have you?
I have got to fly over a tornado, land in Charlotte, and then drive back west right beside the tornado that we flew over.
Was it a scary experience for you?
It was pretty wild. I think it was scarier in the plane because of all the turbulence. I was seated next to Cindy, of course, and she had some really long fingernails at the time, or they seemed really long. I had indentions in my thigh for about a week.
I mean, that does sound scary. It'd be like kind of flying into a hurricane.
But we made it through safe. The only thing that we really got coming back through, I mean, we could see it over to the side. There was some hail, and we hydroplaned a couple of times, and then pulled over under one of the overpasses there to wait it out.
Hydroplaning's fun. I did it in a U-Haul one time.
It scares the absolute shit out of me because I think the number one fatality in the United States of America is vehicle accidents, road accidents. So,
have you ever had a scary experience with a tornado, Monica?
I've seen a couple of them from a distance, but the one that I was really close to, I was so close to it, I could not see it. I was headed home in Kansas, and I got caught up in a tornado, but I couldn't tell the tornado was right there. All I had was so much rain that I couldn't see anything. And so what I could do was pull over and just, okay, hopefully it doesn't come too close to me.
Those rain rat tornadoes are dangerous.
I've experienced a couple, and I noticed that the older I got, the scarier I am. Because when I was younger, and I would see it when you hear a thunderstorm or tornado warning going off, when I was younger, I would run out in the middle of the yard to see where it's at. Now I'm like, fuck, I got kids. I'm like, what am I going to do with these kids? I mean, we got skirted by one about a month or two ago, close to where I'm at. And, it's 11 and 12 o'clock at night, so it's dark. You can't see what's going on. All you hear is the sirens. And then I'm like, I'm tripping. I'm just like tripping. No. What am I going to do? I got nowhere to hide the kids. No basement, no shelter, nothing. But I've experienced a couple. I was driving down the highway once and fucking ran right in smack. Well, I was driving down the highway from Tennessee to Indiana, and a tornado was coming through a cornfield and getting ready to cross the highway. I thought I was just going to keep on driving, but no, it started moving my car on the fucking street on the road. So I told me and my wife at the time, we're going to get out and go into these underpass. And it literally took my vehicle and spun it backwards.
That happened to my brother in his pickup truck. I don't know if you've ever heard of the Arkansas tornadoes, March 1st of 1997.
No.
We had over 100 people killed.
Yikes.
Yeah. I watched this. It was a F3, and it had two sisters circling it. And it tore stuff up bad. But I was sitting on the porch with my arm around the rail with a bottle of tequila. I was screaming at the tornado, "Come get me, fucker.
Come get some, motherfucker. I got you. Come get it. Come get some, motherfucker."
Yeah, that was wild.
In that rating scale, the F1, F2, F3 up to F5, I think the F stands for Fujita.
Yes.
But
Fajitas?
I think for most people in the South where we have tornadoes, it stands for fuck.
Definitely.
What level of fuck is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5?
Enough about being a weatherman and meteorologist around here. Let's talk. Let's talk with our guest. How are you doing, Monica? Tell us a little bit about yourself. The people out here who doesn't know you, tell everybody a little bit about yourself.
Well, I'm from the coast of Washington, where I grew up. The community that I grew up in was a lot of people from Northern Europe went there. I grew up in Grays Harbor on the coast of Washington, and it was where they went to go cut down all the trees. And so a lot of the people that didn't get along everywhere else, they all got sent down to this little Grays Harbor to do forestry. And it was a lot of work for people that like to work, which a lot of the Northern European people that came from other places came to do work. So there's a lot of influence on that, but there's also a lot of Native American tribes. So my family didn't say what they were. I didn't even know my heritage until I did the DNA testing this a year ago is when I did it. My family would mention that we're Finnish and Irish and Scottish, but people just throw things out, and I really didn't know who came over or what the extent was for it. So I learned a lot when I did my DNA.
Who did you go through?
My great grandmother and grandfather came over from Finland when they were teenagers, and they first went to Michigan, And that's where they met and married. And when they got married, Singalma is the last name, and I never knew that name. When they got married, they took the name Matson because they wanted to hide who they were because they were treated so badly back home. My older cousins remember my great grandmother talking about raising reindeer and growing up in the yurt. So it was in the northern part of Finland that she was in. But I've always been drawn to Native American because that's what I grew up in. You know, there was Native tribes, and I always felt like I was a little Native girl, and I would go hang out with the people at the tribes, and, you know, the elders would invite me in and they knew something, but people my age were like, why is this white girl here? She don't belong here. So I got a lot of that when I was growing up. My family has always taught me, you know, about the spirits and everything in nature. And it's just the way I grew up. So I didn't know that other people didn't grow up the way I did. Back in 2000, I moved to the greater Seattle area. Left my first husband at the time. And right before that is when I got my first vision. When I'm driving, I had a dream when I'm driving. I'm like, why am I dreaming? And I'm going to leave my husband and I'm going to be sad because my kids aren't going to be with me. But I'm starting on my journey to find out who I am. Like, where does this dream come from? Because I had no idea at the time that I was even wanting to leave my husband at the time. But I had this vision that I left and I went to the Seattle, the big city, and started my journey. And not a year later, everything happened that I dreamt of. And that's when I really started trying to figure out who I was. Because I used to go during the most darkest times. You know, my first marriage was horrible. And a lot of times I would go out in the woods beyond my house and just go sit out there. And when I would go out there and sit with the trees or sit with nature, I just would get lots of information. And I knew there was anything I had asked for, questions, I would always get the answer. Like something would talk to me. And I knew that there's other people like me. And so I started a journey of who am I? You know, there's got to be other people like me out here. So I started doing investigation and I joined this Wicca group. And it wasn't quite what I was looking for. Wicca is too in the box for me because there's certain things that I just feel is my practice. And they're like, no, you can't do it that way. Well, who says I can't do it that way? That's the way that I feel inside. And that's the way I think I should. And so,
it's your path. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
But
I think there are a lot of people that feel that same way when they go and find a coven or a tribe or a kindred, that they find it's very boxed in, very defined. You have to only do this way. And if you do something a different way, then that's not the way, even though it is okay.
Yeah. So the first book I got, the first book I ever read was the Celestine Prophecies, and I got it from a friend's wife who was a witch. And she gave me this book to read. And then I got a book about magic, and it was magic from all different people. And I read through this book and I'm like, well, I'm definitely magical. So I would ask for signs that, am I really a witch? Is that something? Because it was always a bad thing and it was never talked about. And you are not to say that. My grandmother on my mother's side, when I was growing up, she never called herself a witch, but she had like a little witch thing hanging up in her kitchen. And she would go to her teachers every week and she'd call her teacher a witch. And I would be the only one allowed to come during her weekly meetings with this lady. And I was never to tell anyone what my grandmother was doing or who we were visiting. But other than that, it was never mentioned. So I was really struggling with, am I really a witch? So I started asking for signs. Well, if I really am a witch, I want a sign. And I would get little signs like in the clouds, I would see a pentacle or different things. And I'm like, no, I want a big sign, one that I can't mistake in. So I was in the Seattle area and I was headed to work and I had to stop at the post office. So I stopped at the post office the next day And I parked my car right in front, and I have bumper stickers on my car that says, "Yes, I am a witch, deal with it, so mote it be." And I had ran into the post office, and there's this lady in front of me with a young child. The child must have been like 4 years old, and she had set her up on the little glass table in front of her. And so she was facing me, and she was like hugging her mom, and then she hugged her mom really super tight, and she's like, "Mommy, I'm scared." And the mom says, "Well, what's wrong, honey?" He's like, "There's a witch in here." And she looks at me and gives me this big old grin. And I'm like, "Oh my goodness." And the mother's like, "Oh no, honey, don't worry. There's no witches in here." And she's like, "Yes, there is." And she looks at me again and gives me this big old smile. And then the lady gets done, and then she walks out and sees my car with my bumper stickers. I bet she really had a thinking. So I got huge signs, but I was still struggling because it just brings such negative connotations. And then when I would tell people, I'm a witch, they'd be like, "Well, maybe you shouldn't do that." So I was still struggling, and it was many years later that I'm like, you know what? I'm tired of asking for big signs. This time I want a teacher. And a couple of days later, after I asked for a teacher, I get a knock at my door, and it's this woman. And I had twins at the time. I was a single mom, and they would send a visiting nurse to me to help me out with stuff. And this visiting nurse would come. She had just came. And she comes once a month, and I get a call saying, "Well, we want to schedule another visiting nurse." I'm like, "Well, I just had a visiting nurse. We only do this once a month." "Well, no, this is a different type of visit." I'm like, "Okay." So I made the appointment, and then this knock at my door was like a half an hour late. She's like, "I'm so sorry I'm late. I've been sitting out here, and for the last half an hour, not wanting to come in because I shouldn't be doing this." I'm like, "What are you talking about, lady?" She's like, "I'm not supposed to be here. I was just visiting my sister, and then I seen your file, and I just had Spirit told me I had to come help you, that you asked for a teacher. And so I'm here to help you. I'm here for you to figure out who you are, because that was your question." She's like, "Why are all these bones hanging around your house? What does all this mean?" I'm like, "I don't know. I just always been drawn to bones and collected bones, and some of them are from my parents." And she's like, "Well, where I come from, they called shamans witches. So maybe you should look into the shaman thing." So this lady, she told me about her story of her awakening and getting information. It was a crazy story. And she's like, "Don't worry, honey, I'm going to write a book." And she told me all kinds of things that would happen. She told me what was going to happen in the future and things I wouldn't even believe. She's like, "You're going to move to the middle of the United States. You're going to have a job that you can travel." I'm like, "But I don't like traveling." She's like, "Don't worry, you will like traveling at that time." She just told me, some crazy stuff. And I asked her to write her name down, and she wouldn't. She's like, "I cannot write my name down because I'm not supposed to be here. Because this is my sister's job, and I only came here because you had asked me to come. But it's not time for us to know each other more. I'm just here to give you these messages, and this is what you can work on." She gave me some, meditations to do, and then some sounds to help put everything in balance. She's like, "You have lots of healing and lots of learning still to do, but when the time is right, my name will come to you, and you will find me again." And this was in 2010. 2019, I'm in Kansas, and this lady's name popped in my head. Like, all of a sudden, I remember her name. And so I looked her up on the internet, and I found her, and she did write that book. So I got the book, and she even mentions in the book when she came to Seattle to visit her sister. So it's just been an amazing experience. Different things happen to me. I see sometimes medically things that are wrong with people. I had a really good friend in the Seattle area that I worked with, and I had a dream one night that his wife, I could see like baby parts in his wife. And so the next day at work, I came to tell him, I had a weirdest dream about your wife, and there's like baby parts all over. And he's like, "Oh my goodness, how do you know this?" I'm like, "How do I know what?" She's like, "My wife just had an abortion, but nobody knows, and everything's fine. So I don't know why you're having this dream." And then the next day I went to work and he's like, you were right. My wife got really sick. We went to the hospital and there was parts still left in her that they had to remove. How did you know all that stuff? So I have, and another time I went hiking with this group and I seen this lady that she came to hike with us. She had a blood clot in her brain, and she had told me that she had issues with a headache. And I'm like, well, you should really go to the doctor to get checked out for maybe blood clots. She's like, oh, I just got back from the scans and they said everything's fine. I'm like, well, I'm seeing that everything is not fine. If you go on this 14-mile hike with us tomorrow up this mountain, I'm afraid something's going to happen. And she didn't listen to me. We went hiking up on the mountain. She did have a stroke up on the mountain, but we got her down. So weird, things like that happen. I've always been a healer, but sometimes I can see things also that people need to work on, or some medical issues. I'm still trying to
about, signs. I would like to come back to that because it's something that I end up talking with people a lot. Everybody wants a sign. Everybody gets a sign. But you may be able to see now, in hindsight, that you were getting signs all along, but you were missing them because you were looking for that big sign. You got the big sign, but then you can look back and say all these little things were actually signs the whole way that I had been missing along because I was looking for that big thing. And that's what a lot of people get hung up on. They're looking for that big sign, so they're missing all of the signs that are showing themselves. So take it all in, absorb it all in, and spend time reflecting.
Yeah, because we do, because I think life gets so busy that we just kind of like, we need that big sign because that'll stop us in our busy life tracks, right? It'll stop us right in our tracks to see that big sign. All those little things. The
assuredness of it being something big. The assuredness.
Yeah.
And we tend to miss all those little things that are actually our signs, and we're just not paying attention to because we're waiting, like you said, Päpä, for that great big one that's going to like blow up in your face.
Right. Yeah.
And we have this weird thing, and I think everybody's guilty of it, but everybody's innocent as well. We want to pick our sign. We want to pick what the sign is going to be. If I'm meant to do this, then this will happen, and that will let me know. We don't get to do that. You don't get to dictate the universe. You don't get to tell the universe how you want it to work for you. It goes the other way.
If it was that easy, right? Life would be a lot easier.
Everything happens when it's meant to.
Well, I'm going to go out to the woods, and if I'm meant to do this thing, then I'm going to hear a robin today. I go out into the woods. I don't hear a robin. I walk for miles, but I keep hearing a crow. I'm getting pissed off. Like, if this crow doesn't shut up, I'm never going to get to hear the robin. I spend the whole hike, don't hear a single one, get back home. Come to find out, the robin had told the crow, I'm not going to be out today. We just had a nest of eggs, and I have to sit here and stay quiet and keep on these eggs. But I told the crow to let you know I'm going to be home and quiet today. Come back another time. So when we try to dictate our signs and our messages, we miss the real communication.
Yeah.
It's the same thing you ask for to get something. I've asked for a lot of lessons and a lot of knowing, and the lessons for me to know was not what I expected. But I remember a time when we had COVID, when COVID first started happening, I was very scared of COVID, and I asked, I want to be free from being scared about COVID. And the next thing I know, I got COVID. But it cured me. I was no longer afraid of it. I was just forgot to be specific. Make me not afraid without getting it.
I've had it
making us sick
4-5 times. And I've had 3 jabs.
I think it's time for us to take a quick music break, commercial ad break, and music break. You guys are hanging out with us right now. I'm talking with Heathens. We're hanging out with Monica Smith. She's sharing some of her story and some of her background of what about her path and her journey today. So stay tuned with us here, guys. We're going to play an artist named Jelusik, and his new song, Fly High Again. But we'll be right back, guys. Stay where you're at. Matter of fact, go use the bathroom, grab something to drink, and then come back.
That's okay.
Have you been wanting to grow in your spiritual path? It's time to join the circle. Shaya's Mentorship Circle is a place where we can learn and grow together. It's a private community that's committed to spiritual growth, group support, and learning. You can learn at your own pace with 24/7 access to a wide range of topics presented through videos, writings, and original content on all kinds of spiritual topics, and access to my ever-growing Book of Shadows. All spiritual paths and walks of life are welcome in this circle. On top of all that, Mentorship Circle members get free readings every Monday on my live show, discounts on live readings and workshops, classes, group therapy, and group chats for support and direct mentoring. Join today, get connected, and start living your best life. Learn more at ladyshaya.com.
Fly high again.
after we found so.
Welcome,
I love it.
welcome
That
back,
was a good
everybody.
song.
Yeah, that's what I feel like is I'm flying high again, because before I was flying a little lower, holding someone else up, and now I can fly high on my own.
Now you can spread those wings,
Definitely.
just fly as high as you want, do what you want. No one to answer to but yourself and wherever you want to carry yourself. And that's really is an amazing feeling, really, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Not having those restraints and things that hold you down in life, just treading those rings and just flying wherever direction you want to take yourself.
Yeah.
That's where dreams come true at, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Fred keeps opening the door, making faces at me.
Hi, Fred.
Come on in.
No,
Get your ass in here.
That's
Accent reminds me so much of a good friend of mine.
that's
Bobby.
the fucking room.
He's
No,
from
that's
Ukraine.
my
They
room.
sent
What you
me
talking
so-
about?
That's why.
Am I that country?
Say to Sid, you're
Yeah, you're
going to do
that
the show
country.
from Morocco in September.
Oh, in September we're going to Morocco, so we will be doing the show from Morocco.
Nice.
Ooh, that's right. You guys travel a lot, so we do it.
Yeah.
You guys be at different
On the 1st of
locations.
September, you go.
Like Monday we're going to Greece.
What a lovely place that is.
Soak up the sun.
September.
From the 1st of September to the 12th of September, we're going down South France and then to Morocco.
Just wanted to know.
Okay.
Mary Beth says, "Holy beards."
You should see it. I take my round brush and a hair dryer. When I straighten it out, it's like this much longer. I got him one of those beard straighteners from the Beard Struggle, and it works a bit, but not like using a blow dryer.
I've got to keep mine braided. I've accidentally sewn parts of my beard into things before like crap.
So there's pieces of your beard missing.
I got them back. I didn't send them out with beard.
Get some creepy people coming in. They go, "I got some Papa's hair."
There's a ton of superstitions. I think the Italians have a big one about fingernail clippings, or it might be a gypsy superstition about fingernail clippings. If somebody gets a hold of your nail clippings, they can curse you with them.
Mm-hmm.
My mother always told me, don't ever burn your fingernails with somebody else's. That will bind you together forever.
A lot of people will keep their clippings in a jar and things like
Mm-hmm.
that. Do you guys have any crazy or
Like,
I don't
yeah,
wanna
this
say
one right
crazy.
here. This one right here.
All right, so I was
Dead. Oh my goodness.
or clippings
Landscaping.
went even further.
You know, there's a dude who actually does that. He's a barber by day and a manscaper by night. He goes to people's homes and does it.
What?
Yes.
What?
I was watching YouTube one night. I was laying in bed and this video came up and I was like, wow.
So this guy is hired to go to other men's houses
Well, see,
and manscape them.
well, a lot of them are his barber customers.
Oh, so
So
that makes so much difference.
yeah, well, during the day, he's just a regular barber.
But at
But-
night,
At night,
he's a pube shaver.
yeah.
No, thank you.
There's a lot. When you get a piece of somebody, there's power in that, whether it be a piece of hair or nail clippings, or when you possess a piece of another person. And there's a lot that can be done. I think Old Wolf said old curse magic,
Yep.
old world tradition, and getting a hold of a piece of somebody. I wonder if that's where the modern thing, like, let me get a piece of you, or I'm going to take a piece of you, comes from.
It could very well be. I never thought about that. I bet you it did.
Hmm.
Goes back to magic roots.
Yeah.
There are a lot of funny things like that people say without thinking twice about it, that actually have roots in magic and paganism.
Yeah.
I was always told to always save my hair, never throw it away or leave it where anyone else could get it, to keep it and then bury it with your plants. It actually really helps your plants grow and helps you connect with them, but it also keeps your hair safe.
What about like people like myself? I used to have really long hair, like longer than Papa's actually. And I would shave mine about every 5 years. I cut my hair about every 5 years and donate it to the Locks of Love. Is that a bad idea then? Should I never have done that?
Well, most people don't know.
It's not personal.
Yeah.
I think that was different because it was done out of love.
Not only that, but the person receiving the hair isn't going to know you or know that hair came from you and be like, okay, I'm going to curse Sid Ryder with this hair that I got from Locks of Love.
Absolutely, yeah.
My hair, where I keep the sides trimmed or shaved, when Cindy does that for me, I take those clippings and I set them out for the birds.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of a way for me to foster that relationship with the land and the life here, and giving something useful, nesting materials with my discarded hair clippings.
I've never given it that much thought. Now you guys got me all fucking worried. I've put hair every fucking where. Kicking somebody's bathroom, shaving my pubes. I'm leaving it all over the toilet seat.
Start carrying a little dirt devil in your pocket.
Now I know why I bought that medicine bag, Papa.
Oh, no.
Oh my goodness!
I don't know what
you saw my pajama pants.
is put in them, but that's between the person and their craft.
I never give it that much thought, really. I guess for me, I don't try to cross those superstitious vibes. I'm a firm believer, I guess, about if curses only work if you let them work. Well, the moment that someone tries to curse you and you acknowledge that these people are trying to curse you, then they already won. They're going to curse you. So maybe it's just my mentality, way I kind of process things. Because I've got people tell me almost all the time, well, I'm going to hex you, but I'm going to curse you. And I'm thinking, no, you're not. No, you're not.
It's energy, and you have the choice and the decision to accept it or not. And if you don't accept that energy into your life, into your bubble or your space, then no, it absolutely will not.
Well, I want to say, Sid, when I did the protection puppet for you, I got a lot of resistance.
Yeah, you pie for me.
No,
and I don't mean that in a bad way, but that's my. How do I explain it? It's hard to get into my circle unless I 100% fully let you into my personal bubble. You will get tons and tons of resistance of some, because you get those people out there in the community like the energy vampires, for instance.
Oh, definitely.
So I don't let people in normally, and even my subconscious, at a subconscious level, even though I'm saying, sure, yeah, go ahead, you can do that, subconsciously there's still these walls and protection over me that I keep over myself at all times.
Yeah.
So I could see why it was a little bit resistant for you, I suppose, and probably a lot of due to me just subconsciously.
Well, I got nauseous.
Probably
very nauseous.
I do make people sick.
Also, not to forget, walls, no matter how big or how strong you build them, any and all walls can crack, and you can have cracks.
And that's up to the person to keep up on the maintenance, which is important too. With me, sometimes I kind of like I get busy. I used to get really. I've learned to not let myself get so busy. That way, I could take time away from all this social media stuff at times, because that can like really just, and that doing that itself can drain you. Making posts, connecting with people, talking with people, being part of chat rooms. You're in a room of 20 people, 20 different personalities, that'll zap it right out of you. And so I've had to learn how to micromanage that as well. I used to have a conversation with every single body that would message me, and I don't do that anymore.
I think I'm very, very guilty of that. And I'm not bragging and saying this because I really do feel bad about it. I've probably got 20 to 30 unread messages on Facebook Messenger, but I just don't get on there much. I'll hop onto Facebook, but that doesn't mean I'm on Messenger. I'll post about my day, my crafts, if I've traveled or gone somewhere that I want to share with my friends. But I'm not on there long enough to like have a conversation or pick up and talk to somebody, even though they want to. And again, I feel bad about that. But yeah, it's definitely something that you have to manage, because it will run away on you and it will start to consume your life. People get into social media, and then social media becomes their life.
And it can easily be done too. You can, and if you don't catch yourself and stop yourself, it can 100% take control of your life until until something bad happens, and then everything crumbles apart, and then that's when the humbling process comes in, and you get to start all over again. I don't even know if I want to even address this, because it depends to me, and I'm thinking, oh my goodness, no, nobody's getting hold of my underwear. I'm not dropping out off nowhere for anybody to grab a hold of. And it also depends on what kind of
talking about some panty pudding.
What? What did I just hear?
This is a new one.
You've never heard of panty pudding?
I've heard of like the college days, like the panty raids.
It sounds like an STD.
No. Women naturally make
I don't even want to know.
Moisture.
I don't want to know.
Our bodies naturally clean themselves.
Pheromones.
Look at Sid. He's about to...
I swear I'm about to throw up. I swear.
All right. Well, let's move on then. I really enjoy hearing from anybody that I meet in my path, whatever walk of life, are who they're inspired by or who has helped to shape their path and their practice, be it philosophers or modern day people that you have, your friend circle, or historical figures, or who you look to in the pantheons and deities. Who are some of the people or figures or characters that have helped shape your path and your practice and what you do now?
So the main one would be my father. And when I was growing up and when I was younger and he was around, I thought he was a crazy man. He would tell me all kinds of stuff. And I'm like, okay, Dad, what magical world are you living in? Because I don't know about any of this stuff. And I didn't get it then. So, but I remember things he would tell me. And now I understand that he wasn't crazy. So definitely my father. He passed away in 2002. He was murdered. Part of it was a hate crime. Part of it was over drugs. He was friends with the kids. He took him out to breakfast first. They murdered him for drug money, but they also did it to him because he was gay. And he had a stroke later in life, and it really took a toll on him. And so we weren't as close. I had moved away and he stayed back at the ocean. So we lived far apart. But after he was murdered, it took me a long time to even be able to function, because he was who raised me. I had a mom that wasn't around. So it was just my dad. It was devastating for me. But I came to realize how much he is there with me all the time now. And he was able to help me so much more after he was gone. I have lots of the woman that came to my house when I asked for a teacher. That is Lori Morrison. I've met Susanna Ravenswing. She's also in North Carolina. She always has great suggestions for books. She did a soul map reading for me, and that was very enlightening.
Practicing shaman, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, Northern traditional shaman. I have another shaman from Sheila Baker, Shaman Weaver Sheila Baker. So I just seem to been meeting a lot more shamans, and they really help me. I spent a lot of time this last year traveling around with Harold, my ex-partner, and doing the Lone Wolf Show together. We got to interview tons of people, and we traveled around doing festivals. So I did get a lot of information from everyone, and I learned something from everyone I meet. Everyone has something to teach me, or I have something to teach them. So even the little, even the guy on the road that I helped out, is an inspiration to me. I take inspiration from everyone I meet, even people that I meet that normally people would think it was a bad encounter, but it's not, because that taught me something. It's just the way you look at
I like that
things.
way of thinking that you're there. You don't take it as being an awful experience. You're taking lessons from each experience, and that's really important, because everybody does have something to offer to teach somebody else, whether they realize it or not. Even the person that you're helping out is actually teaching you something, and that's really what it's about, right? I mean, that's really truly what it's about.
I've had several father figures in my life, and there are those that have taught me what to strive to be, and then there are those that have taught me to strive what not to be.
Yeah.
And so you learn from everyone.
Absolutely, yeah.
Good
and it's great that you're able to meet so many people. That's where I feel like I've been blessed the last 3 years or so doing this, is meeting all these people and learning something different from them. And then you're realizing that, yeah, everybody has their own way of doing things, but at the end of the day, they all kind of tie in with each other at some point. The end of their journey, we all kind of tie in. And that's been really kind of amazing to watch, to see, because we all have our own journey and our own path that we've been, things that we've gone throughout our whole life. But the end results end us up right here in this moment.
Definitely, yes.
A great, big, wonderful fucking world. We get so caught up, and we make our world very small, especially in our practice. We can shrink things down because it's personal. You get quiet. You've got your protected spaces. You're in your bubble. But there is a huge, great, big, wide open world out there with so much.
Look at it.
Monica, look, you were just talking about your travels that you've done here recently, and Lindsey has been all over the world, and I've had my travels, and Sid, I'm sure you've done traveling as well. There are so many people and so many ideas and opinions and so much to learn.
I was reflecting on this very subject the other day when I was reflecting on when I first decided I was going to be dedicate myself to the pagan community or the witchcraft idea. And when I got to reflecting, I was like, damn, it's amazing, because when I started practicing, it was in the 90s, and you didn't have very many people you could talk to about it. There wasn't, you couldn't, if there was cults or covens or whatever you want to call them, but you couldn't find them. So you was basically on your own. You reading books to learn what you learn. And then when I decided to go full-fledged into the witchcraft community and the pagan community, my mind was blown. It was like a mental overload. I wasn't expecting to learn so much in such a short period of time. And it was like my brain just short-circuited. I was like, I can't believe there's so many different paths, so many different beliefs. I mean, it's always blown my mind. It's been the beauty of it. I didn't know nothing until I got on social media. And I thought, I've practiced 20 something years in witchcraft, and I get on social media and see all these other things. I'm like, I don't know nothing.
Well, I think that's the trap. I think that's the trap, and that's what Monica was saying earlier. People first coming into something, allow themselves to be boxed in, blocked in with that title or that label, or that I'm part of a coven, so I have to do this, I have to do this, I have to think this way, I have to have these opinions to match the rest of the people in this group. And so you become very closed to everything else around you, all that information, all that knowledge, all that wisdom. You start rejecting it, when really there are so many truths out there and they're all wonderful, but you have to believe that an opposing truth is a lie to fit into that box, to be in that box, to be in that coven, that kindred, that tribe, whatever.
Because I definitely got caught up in it. I was just completely just lost at first. I knew what I knew, but apparently when you go on to doing social media and you come on and you see all these different communities and different beliefs, you're just like, okay, I didn't know nothing, which is cool. I'm fine with that because I want to learn all these different beliefs. I didn't realize I was going to be so much into the Celtic group of beliefs. I didn't realize I was going to be into so much into the Norse pagan beliefs. Not until I got into the social media and started doing what I'm doing. It's just been strictly just witchcraft. I like it. I liked it. You got to keep your mind open. You got to keep, like you said earlier, spread those wings and fly with it sometimes.
My grandparents were Oneness Pentecostal, but my grandmother is where I learned most of my herbal knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
She used to call me her little witch.
And Granny Witch Magic is still very much thriving in Appalachia.
It is.
And
that's how I got my magical name.
That's what I would compare her to. Even though she was Christian,
mm-hmm.
You know, like she had this verse in the Bible. I don't know what it is, but she could lay her hands on you and recite this verse in the Bible and you would stop bleeding.
Yeah. There's power in the words of words, period.
Mm-hmm.
No matter what religion belief you have.
And just like, you know, in voodoo, they use a lot of the Psalms from the Bible.
Anyway, Monica, we're hanging out with Monica. I think we should take another music break. We're going to take another quick music break. Come back and talk with Monica some more. I want to know what Monica is, what her practice is like today. What things,
my next question too.
Yeah, I'm curious to know what her path is like today. But before we do that, we're going to play another music video. This is a brand new one from Avenged Sevenfold. And this is their song, We Love You. So we'll be right back, everybody. Stay where you're at. Get yourself something to drink and come right back.
Hey, this is Josie Scott, the former lead singer of Saliva and the current lead singer of my band, Shade Violet. Hit me up on all my socials at josiescottrocks.com, Facebook, Twitter, all of it, Instagram. I'm here to tell y'all, you need to tune in to Inner Demon Radio, where you're going to hear some of the best mainstream unsigned artists anywhere. And the only thing left for you to do now is to look for my new band, Shade Violet, and tune in to Inner Demon Radio and release those inner demons.
Me
I love the new music from Avenged Sevenfold. Thank you.
It's not bad. It's a little different. One thing about Avenged Sevenfold, they do a lot of change ups in their songs, and sometimes those tempo changes just doesn't hit the mark sometimes. This one's okay though. I gotta say, I've listened to it about 3 or 4 times, and it's starting to wear on me. But when I first heard it, I was like,
That's my first time hearing it, and the face that you just made was my first reaction as well.
I'm a big fan of the band, to be fair, but I'm not every song. It's it. You know what I mean? I didn't care for their last album, The Stage. I didn't like it, and this one kind of I'm looking forward to it a little bit because I'm hearing some screaming again. But they haven't done that in a long time since We Are the Fallen. So I don't know. I thought I'd play it tonight. That's what everybody else thought.
The great thing about art and about artists is that you watch them live life and progress and change because they share it through their art. And so you see these change ups, and you'll see it in my work as well.
We got Josh who said, this sucks. I was thinking this is definitely something else. Not every song everybody's gonna like. It is what it is. You don't know until you play.
But I appreciate them reaching out and trying, and the expression.
Sometimes they just do too many change ups. I think is my thing is that they too many tempo changes, and it just kind of sometimes it ruins the song. Like you go from a ballad to a medium rhythm to fast, then to ballad, then to bluegrass at the very end. I'm like, it gets a little confusing for people.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That guitar twang at the very end reminded me a little bit of Stone Temple Pilots.
Yes.
Oh, what's the name of that song?
Driving faster in my...
Oh, that's the Crow soundtrack. That's what you're thinking of. It was off the Crow soundtrack. Oh, what is the name of that song? The Big Empty. Thank You, Wolf.
Yeah.
Thank You, Wolf. That's the song. All right, Monica. Tell us a little bit about what you got. What's your practice like now? You've met all these people. You've learned all this stuff throughout the years. Where is your practice at now?
It's kind of went full circle. Like I thought I needed to learn all these things, and doing my genealogy, I did my DNA and really dug into my family history, and then meeting all these people. And it's not just reading a book, but it's talking with them on something like this. You get an energy, and just that energy helps you unlock so many puzzle pieces. Like it's just before this year, my life, I had pieces everywhere and they didn't fit together. Now they all fit together. Like I understand. And so it's really going back to what I've always known, how I was raised. But I have been doing a lot of research about the Sami. I think my great grandmother had some Sami in her with the stories that she would tell my older cousins about raising reindeer and living in a yurt and being nomadic. And so I've been doing a lot of research on that. The Norse gods and goddesses have always had a special place in my heart. Up until now, though, I've always just called in animal spirits, and they've always been my guide.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but animal spirits is more Native American, right? When it comes to spirit guides?
Not necessarily, because the Sami called in animal spirits too.
I think it's universal, and it comes back to animism itself and the belief that any and all things have a spirit or an energy. And that's the big connection in shamanism. You've got people in South America practicing, in Scandinavia practicing, in Japan practicing.
I think there's 12 different indigenous people that have shamans.
There is a unique shamanic community that I'm very fortunate to be involved in, where there's this central idea and mutual respect that happens between practitioners, no matter the distance, no matter the cultural upbringing or traditions or stories. It's something that we all share, and that's that core animistic belief.
Definitely. Even the Druid path is the same. Yeah.
And
everything has life.
Probably gonna piss a few people off, but I'm gonna blame Christianity again on this episode. I don't think I've made it an episode without throwing a rock at the Christians, so I'm going to throw one here tonight. There are so many, whether it be the Sami, the Celtic, wherever you are in the world has such rich history and tradition, but it's been washed out by Christianity. The histories have been erased. The traditions have been burned, literally burned.
Wolf says the power of Christ compels you.
It does. It absolutely does. But so much has been erased and taken away. And so many people feel lost. Well, my culture doesn't seem that interesting. Well, it's because they haven't been able to hold on to it because Christianity got hold. And they took it away. They took the languages away. They took the clothes away. They took the drums away, literally. They took the drums away from the Sami. They took away everything.
And the victor writes the history.
Exactly. Thank you. So yes, don't doubt for a second that you don't come from something beautiful and unique and interesting and rich, because you do. Mm-hmm. And it's greater than a cross stuck up on a wall over a doorway.
I never got that.
I'm done.
By the way, I mean that's the cross is really kind of like a horrific symbol. I mean, we get shit talked about the pentagrams and the pentacles and this and that it's the devil's symbols, but damn, I mean the cross. I mean, think of all the countless people that's been hung by a cross.
I'm going to walk around with a torture device on my neck. I'm going to wear earrings or an execution device.
I was watching it was a documentary. I can't remember exactly which show it was. It might have been Time Team or something like that. But they were saying that when they crucified someone, it wasn't actually a cross. It was like that.
I've seen it a lot as a T shape.
I think you're talking about a sexual device there. Slow down, Lindsay. I think that's called a Prince Albert or something like that.
I read something recently that they have found crosses on Viking things that Christianity wasn't around then. So the cross, actually, they adopted that into the Christianity. That it was prior to Christianity that they, like many other things, brought it over to help convert people.
I mean, that would totally make sense because that's
the sun wheel.
And they've probably been hanging people from crosses way before Christianity even came around. They just thought, well, Christians like fuck it.
I think they found a Viking sword or a brooch of this shaman woman, and it had the crosses on it, and this was pre-Christianity. So,
I remember reading about that. Yes.
Yeah, where the horizontal stave is further toward the bottom on the vertical stave than more upright, like what we see in the crucifix or the Christian cross.
Yeah, but I think some of that could have been from trading as well, because it would have been used as currency.
Well, I mean, hell,
gold or silver
put across each other like this. It's not a hard thing to come up with, but the way that the Christian community has embraced, and I get it. Before anybody wants to message me about, well, it's not about the crucifixion, it's about defeating the crucifixion. I get it. I do. But you're still wearing a torture device around your neck. I mean, your earrings are a torture device. I don't care.
I mean, for real. I mean, that sounds like some of the stupidest. If someone said that to me, well, it's not about what. what the fuck is it then?
Lindsey, you guys are in France right now. I think your next craft should be to make a tiny little guillotine and put it on a necklace. That's the method of choice in France. Like, cut the head off.
You know, I helped my youngest son. I helped him make a trebuchet when he was in like 3rd grade. He was Beta Club and Odyssey of the Mind and all that. He was like really advanced for his age. And I helped him build a trebuchet, and that sucker worked.
All right, so Monica, you said it's going to come full circle, like back to your roots, your childhood experiences and beliefs, and working with what you were learning from your family, but also your community at the time, which were a lot of indigenous people to the American Northwest.
Yes. And doing the research and reading, I have a stack of books. I start reading like 5 or 6 books at one time. So I in this last 16 months, I hadn't had a lot of time to do the things that I needed to do for my path. I've been more of a supporting somebody else. So now I have all the time to put me first and get the things done that I want to do. With the books I'm reading, it's what I'm learning from the Old Norse and the Northern European and the shamanism from my family, that is the same stuff that I've been taught. So, you know, I kind of skipped and looked into Wicca because that was the big thing back in early 2000s. And I definitely found out that wasn't me. But now that I've talked to so many people and started meeting a lot more people that practice the way I do, that it's stuff that I've already known that I just didn't have. Like, I was lacking listening to my inner knowledge, but now that I read things and meet other people, then it's what my practice is. I don't have to fit into this little box and do it this way. That's where I think you really become awoke. That you realize that you don't have to pick anything. You've discovered a secret to your life and what makes you happy, and or you're still in that process of journey. And that's where I'm at, really. To be fair, I don't declare anything as my belief system anymore. I believe in me. I believe in human nature. I believe in Mother Earth. I believe we take care of our planet. We take care of our generations to come. But I don't feel like I have to pick a certain belief or a certain path anymore. I'm at that point. I'm happy with me, the way I am with me and how my life is. I like being positive, and to me that's just as much as magical as anything else. Yeah, I found that
Sid and I get along so well is his appreciation for logic. I'm probably one of the most logical spiritualists you might meet in a lifetime, but logic is very important. Be sensible.
Yeah, I guess you just reach a certain point in your life, right? That you don't take on that you don't have to take on no title no more. You've kind of experienced it all, and you kind of know what fits you. Now, are you, with the way you practicing today, is there a lot of spell work, or are you at the point now where you don't, everything you do you can't consider magic now, Monica?
I've always considered everything I do magic. So, I mean, sometimes I will do a specific thing, like have a specific intention and, make a sacred space and have it more powerful to bring in, bones or blood, or it just depends on what I'm doing. I just go with what I feel. This last year, I used to practice and, go out on the full moon and charge my crystals and do a little thing.
I used to too. Yeah.
But being in the situation I was this last year, we didn't have a lot of, practicing like that. It was more talk about it, but not do it. And so later on, I started doing it, but I would be the only one by the fire. Everyone, I wasn't wasn't a good situation. It was. I'm thankful for everything I learned, but I learned it's not, it wasn't good for me to stay in that situation. I learned that creating, singing, because I was going and doing festivals, and I was a backup singer and did a lot of creation, but creation really helps my path. It really helps me connect better. So I'm going to focus on creating more. I do carvings and I do other crafts, but also I'm going to start doing my own singing and possibly dance. I was a dancer from the time I was 3 up until I quit high school. So dance has always been a huge thing of mine. And looking into different, there's a dance with the staff that is done in Northern Europe.
That's called what, pole dancing?
Yeah. And well,
Monica.
But singing to the wind, singing to the spirit is just that really brings a lot of magic creating. So I really think that's the direction I'm going to go. I also have started learning sound energy healing with tuning forks with the old esophageal frequencies, the ones that they used to use in the hymns that they quit using and switched to the 12, whatever the 12-step thing is that they do now. But for my research, that they quit using it because it would help connect people to source, to spirit. And that's why they took it away and switched it. And so the esophageal frequencies, I have tuning forks that can help, put everything together and get everything flowing again the way it's supposed to. So I actually bought this certification program and training to do before I met up with my old partner. And then it kind of got put on the back burner. So I'm now going back into that and going to start really seeing what I can do to help other people's heal. I am a healer, and just being in the presence of I don't even have to do anything. Just being in the presence of someone helps them heal. But definitely working with other people with I don't heal people. I help them figure out how to heal themselves.
You're guiding them around.
There are a couple of things that I would like to come back to in that sound thing. And Old Wolf says, yeah, harmonic resonance. There is undisputed proof that marries science and spirituality. They've done the brain scans and a billion tests that prove how sounds alter how those frequencies alter. The other thing that I wanted to come back to, and this might not be a surprise to anybody, is you had mentioned a lot of people like to talk about practice, but then kind of at the end of the day, you were left by yourself in acting on that practice. I see that as such a huge thing in a negative way that's affecting the pagan community now and through social media.
Absolutely, yes. And the gatekeeping that comes along with it.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any advice for people to help avoid that pitfall between getting mixed in with those who just talk about it or want to talk about it but don't practice it, and then finding those who actually do? You had mentioned a few names where you were able to connect with some people and learn with some people, but that's not always easy.
Yeah, it's just, look into their actual practice. People that actually have a practice, a lot of times they have lives and they invite you to it, or I don't know how to let everyone know, how to research if someone's really practicing and not just talking. But definitely seeing it is proof. A lot of people can feel the energy. You can feel someone that you just know they don't have the energy of somebody that has a practice that they do. That, you know, I ran into the same situation with and my ex-husband. He was the same way, kind of, where he was more talk and not practice. It was more of a, I'm going to do this thing that nobody else, you know, like do something to get attention to himself. And so, I don't know. It's hard to break away with old patterns. I definitely have broke away from that. I think I ran into the evil mother. You have to have an evil mother to teach you hard lessons. And I'm thankful for the evil mother that I ran into that taught me hard lessons, but it broke me from the same pattern. I don't know how somebody can distinguish between that, but definitely use discernment.
Well, I have to say, just your face, you're different. You're happy. I can see it.
Yeah.
I mean, you're let down with the situation, but you can see that you're more happy. You're glowing now. Before, you look depressed.
I can't even look at her screen. She's glowing so bright.
No, that's me. That's the Irish coming out and the Scottish.
Or is that panty pudding?
Yeah, I look back on pictures of, you know, when I first started my journey this last year of traveling, and man, I look good in those pictures at the beginning. And then as I go on, I'm like, why am I like fading away? Like, why do I look so horrible later on?
Sucking your life force away from
you.
He was an energy vampire.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
To wrap this up for the night, we got another show coming on at 10 o'clock. We can keep this conversation going on, I'm sure. But I think it's a very important question. After all you've been through in your life, Monica, from the beginning to where you're at today, and let's say you got somebody coming into the craft or into our world, our community, what is some of the best advice that you would give somebody new coming into our community?
I think that finding your heritage, finding who your people are, I really believe that you pick up where your ancestors left off. And if you dig into that DNA, dig into tracing your family back to help you connect, it's amazing the connection that I received from doing my DNA and finding my family. I have more family in Finland than I do in America. My first cousin over there went and found my great grandfather's grave over in Finland. It's just having and sending me the pictures and the videos and just connecting with your ancestors really helps you so much. And that's the number one thing I would suggest anyone do.
I agree. I think that's very important.
It definitely helps. It would help the journey because it gives you something to connect to. Though you follow the path of what they did back then, and this makes it easier knowing where your heritage is and how far it goes back. It was interesting.
Connection is critical.
Yeah.
Because without that, you feel like you're just copying someone else or copying someone else's practice or ways or traditions.
When I did my ancestry, I left my jaw like to the floor. I was like, God. And because you start making connections, you start seeing things that we do, and then you're reading back on some of your pages of your ancestors, and you read some of their stories. And go, well, this makes total sense now. Why I'm this way? This is how they were when they're back, and it was kind of cool to connect the dots to who you are as an individual and with your ancestors, and it creates a stronger bond and a stronger connection to that certain belief system from that era.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty cool. What did you go through to find out your ancestry? Let everybody know.
I did my heritage.
My heritage?
My heritage, yes.
See, my parents used Ancestry, and it showed, obviously Native American DNA doesn't really show up. And we've always been told we were Native, from the Eastern Band of Cherokee. And I actually found last week my great uncle was born on Cherokee in the East Cherokee Band.
I think you
in
forgot
Tennessee.
I'm just a few miles north of the reservation here.
Yeah. Cool.
And yes, well, it can be quite terrifying too.
I would also advise anybody that's going to go out and do that DNA kit or testing. I know they're expensive, but if you can swing it, do 2 different ones. I did Ancestry initially, and then I did 23andMe, and I was floored at how different they were. But then you can take the common things and feel a little bit more secure. Like, okay, this makes sense. You see where names match up. You see where locations match up. Historical records that each provide, whether it be coming through Ellis Island or in the newspaper or whatever. Definitely get a second if you can.
That's when I got my kit. It gave me family tree. They sent me a package. They gave me. I came with a family tree and pictures of my ancestors back when they was back in the Wild West. We came from England and we was actually like horseback riders for the Kings. Is where the name came from.
Pictures are so fucking cool, aren't they?
Yeah. I got the. It is really cool because I actually got one original picture from that era. Is that a powwow?
I used to do living history from the 1830s and 40s. I dressed the part and everything. And this is actually from a mountain man rendezvous in Pinnacle Mountain. These
Very
are
cool.
I got some. Hang on. Let me find the good ones.
While she's looking for good ones, Monica, is there anything? There was another one. Sorta.
So with my DNA sample, I started looking at my matches. There's thousands of names, but I started scrolling through all these names, and that's how I kept seeing my family's last name, Singalma. So what I did, I reached out to every Singalma I could find on Facebook, and like sent them a message. I'm like, I keep seeing Singalma pop up in my DNA matches. And this is who I know my grandparents are. And I started getting messages back, and one of them, she does genealogy. She's a Singalma, and she's like, we have been searching for you for 20 years. We know your grandmother and grandpa came over here, but we lost them because they changed their name. So to find family that's been searching for us for all this time. My grandfather and grandmother, my great grandfather and grandmother split up. He married somebody else in California, and they went back to Finland and had 10 more kids, I think it was. So I have so much family. And Singalma is still in our family. There's a place in Finland called Singalma, and that was the family homestead. So it's still in the family.
Do you know what
cool.
that translates to in English? The last name?
It's the swamp. The swamp around the trees or something like that. Yes. It's for the name for the place where it's swampy around the trees.
Oh boy. This
Oh,
could go
okay.
south.
This is very, very swampy.
This could go south really quick with pudding panties and swamp.
Penny pudding.
Don't be afraid to practice your own way. If you have a knowing, if you feel it in your soul, then do that. That's what's right. Start listening to that wild soul inside you. And when you start listening and acknowledging it and doing it, you really get a lot more information and blessings.
If it's calling for a reason.
Absolutely. You always have to follow your intuition.
100%. Well, guys, think it's time for us to end the show. Great having you on with us tonight, Monica. Thanks for sharing space with us.
Definitely.
We got some things in the work. We're not making the official announcement just yet, but we'll just say that welcome to the Inner Demon Media family.
Thank you.
And we'll leave it at that. We'll make the announcements in the next day or two of what's coming up. New projects going on here, trying to expand things, do things. Just being an artist for me is creating new things, and that's magic for me. That's when I get the most excited, when new things are getting on the horizon, and I'm like pumped for it. But yeah, welcome to the family. Thanks for hanging out with us.
I'm glad to be here. Thank you.
What's up, Papa?
I was just saying welcome.
Me and Sid said that at the same exact time.
Right now, Papa is like the OG of everybody here with us. That's part of that does shows. Papa is now the official OG. He's like original. He's the original gangster now. He's been around doing shows with me. We'll be hitting a year in October.
Wow.
There was a little rocky patch at first when we first met. It was about a month before my son passed away. So I was going through a whole just a shitstorm at that time. And this man right here still stood by idle, waiting for me to get out of my rut, and if I needed someone to talk to. But he's the last. You're the OG now. You're the gangster now. But yeah, welcome to the family, Monica. Looking forward to the new show. We'll make an announcement of that in the next day or two. And everybody else, thanks for tuning in with us tonight. Be sure to tune in here at the top of the hour for Lady Shy and the Old Wolf. They'll be on live here on the page or their page as well, wherever you wanted to watch at. That's a good show. Pay attention to that one. She does really good card readings, so check her out. Outside of that, we're out of here. We got one more video to play, and it's our the Inner Demon Records' very own Bonded by Darkness with their song The Ritual 2. I had fun making this video. I love this. I love this video. But anyway, guys, take care. Be safe. We'll catch you guys next Wednesday for another Talking with Heathens. Until then, be safe and be well, everybody.
Good night.
To make my spell last.